What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Timo with Timo Paints, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite paint that I like to use when I'm painting trim or baseboards anytime I have to do it by hand, because sometimes when you're painting baseboards and trim by hand, you get issues with roping and stuff, and it's a total headache. Before that, I do have some links for you guys. I got a free estimating guide, my gift to you, to get the perfect bid every single time. If you're interested in that, check the top link in the description and the pinned comment. So, with that being said, let's get into the video. All right, guys, so I recently had a comment on my channel, and it was from Sushi Q, and this was 4 days ago, and she asked me, what type and brand of paint do you prefer for trim? I'm in the middle of using Sherwin-Williams Extra White in a semi-gloss, and the roping is horrible, even with Floetrol. I wish I had watched your addition of water video before trim work, before I had added the Floetrol. Thanks. So basically, let's talk about some of the slang. I guess it's like painter's terms. The SW, obviously Sherwin-Williams, which is like a name brand of paint, which is definitely comparable to Kelly Moore and Benjamin Moore, any kind of Glidden or well-known name brand paint. It's up there. Roping is what happens when these high acrylic enamel water-based paints, they start to dry and set up pretty quickly, and when you're using a brush, it's hard to lay the paint on, and when you're doing it starting to dry, and what happens is the brush bristles dig into the paint, and when it dries, it has a texture instead of that nice clean finish. So you mostly want to spray trim anytime you get the chance, but I know that that's not always the case. I had another comment recently asking me they were pressed for time, and they had to end up doing it by hand. So she also mentions the use of Floetrol. Floetrol is a paint extender. It's a latex paint extender, so like it increases the pot time. Now that's a whole separate video in itself, but basically boiled down, what that means is you pour some paint into a working receptacle and you're working out of that paint, and the pot time is in reference to how long you can work out of that material that you have in that paint. A lot of times it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours. Different types of paints, depending on the makeup of the paint, it will not be workable in like 30 minutes. Sometimes you can only work with it for like 30 minutes, and you need to basically pour it out or add some water. What I like to do, instead of adding Floetrol is better for heat. If you're outside working in the heat or the cold, when it's very cold, the consistency of the paint can change. When it's cold, it obviously thickens up, and then when it's hotter, it could also thicken up, because what's happening is it's drying. It's basically drying. As soon as you pop the lid, it's starting to evaporate fast. So you add this Floetrol, and what it does is it allows the paint to flow more easily without drying as fast. It extends the pot time. For me, what I've learned over the years is only applicable if you're using water-based paint, because if you're using oil-based paint, you would use the same exact technique but using the appropriate thinner. For water-based paint, I would add a few ounces of water, maybe 4 ounces to 5 ounces max per gallon. And as time goes on, you could always add a little bit more water, just a little bit of water. Now, water will help. It'll help extend the dry time, so it'll allow you to put the paint onto the surface and push it around a little bit longer and have time to kind of even it out and spread it out thin, because painting the baseboards and trim is definitely difficult. It's not something you can just throw the paint on real quickly. You got to kind of make sure it's real nice and even to avoid drips, because that's the focal point. The trim is a very important part of the paint job. So I hope this helps you guys out. Basically, we could boil it down to use a semi-gloss type of paint. A water-based latex or an alkylid-based paint is also good for trim, and this way that accentuates the rest of your walls. And yeah, so my preference, exactly what I like to use, is 2 different types. For baseboards and door moldings and stuff like that, I like to use Acryplex, and that's from Kelly Moore, semi-gloss or a satin grade. Also, what I would like to use for my cabinets or any spots that are going to be heavily trafficked, like a front door or something, I tend to use a Durapoxy, and this is a top shelf paint. It's kind of pricey, but it's worth the paint, so worth the price for the paint. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys out. If you guys are interested in how I estimate my jobs, or how I get leads, or how I've started my paint business, click the links below. They'll help you out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.